Toki Tori was a brilliant puzzle game that I discovered on Steam about 2 years ago. I have, however, recently discovered that it was a Game Boy Colour release. Now, Toki Tori 2 has been released, and as if to honour that, they have released it first on the Wii U. The good news is that a lot of stuff has been held over from the Game Boy era, not just the main character Toki Tori. The first thing you will notice that comes from that era is the fact that when you fire up the game for the first time, you will not be granted with a press right to go right or do this, that button. The annoying little tutorials that are now so superfluous are gone. You are thrown in there, you simply fall onto the screen and are left to your own devices. Basically, you have to discover how to do whatever you've got to do. While there are no proper tutorials in the current sense of the word, the first few levels of the game are very well designed to teach you what you will need to know with a minimum of experimentation. There are also some cues from the wildlife around you, like one of the birds will randomly be tweeting in this corner or it'll flap off in that direction to give you a sense that that's the right way to be going. It's probably been streamlined quite a bit by the fact that Toki Tori himself has lost a few skills since the first game. In the first game he had the ability to teleport, to build bridges, to use ice guns, to shoot enemies. They've all been taken away and left him with just the ability to stomp and chirp. What is impressive is that this streamlined ability set has not resulted in the puzzles being any simpler. The reason for that is the fact that both of the abilities are context sensitive. No two creatures will react exactly the same to your chirps. Sometimes even the environment can change how they react. For example, there is one type of bug that's usually crawling along a rooftop, and if you stomp it will cause it to fall to the floor, and once it's on the floor, stomping again will cause it to roll along the floor. Now if the ceiling is low enough, it will instead cause it to bounce back up onto the roof to walk along there for a while. The sheer variety of these combinations will mean you're still learning quite a distance into the game. Toki Tori's chirps also have a secondary set of abilities that you will learn along the way. These, I'm not sure if they're officially called it, but I will refer to them as songs, are things that you will pick up by noticing other birds singing them. Your chirp ability has two types, a small and a large chirp, and doing them in the right pattern will cause these abilities to be activated. One of these abilities will cause the game to roll back to its last checkpoint. That can be useful if you dig yourself into a hole that you cannot get out of. In fact, that's where you learn it, because in one of said holes, you will come across the character that is stuck there making the chirping sound. Another of these abilities will cause an eagle to swoop down and lift you into the sky above the world map. That is the method of quick travel. Now, speaking of the world map, this is new to Toki Tori 2 and it's how the puzzles are linked together. Around the world you will find gateways and caves that you can pass through to get into other zones. What I really liked about it is the fact that as long as you could solve the puzzle to get to them, there is nothing else getting your way. This manages to give a 2D puzzle game quite an interesting open world feel, because you are exploring an entire world. Visually then, the game looks stunning. It looks incredible on a big screen in HD. I played it on a 50-inch plasma. The graphics are also crisp when you take it into off-screen mode and play it on the Wii U's gamepad. Now that is one of the features that they've added for the Wii U, the fact that you can take it off-screen, so continue playing when somebody else wants to actually watch the TV. There were a few times I actually used this as a way to clear my mind. Now some of these puzzles were a bit challenging and a bit confusing. When I got stuck, I would take it into off-screen mode, put something normal on TV to distract myself, and then that would usually be when the solution would just go, ah, that's it, and then I could instantly get back into playing. When it's not being used for off-screen play, the gamepad does have an overview of what's going on the game. At the top of the screen will be a set of icons that show you the songs you've learnt so far. Useful if, like me, you have the memory of a goldfish that's getting a bit old. At the bottom of the screen are a set of place markers for points of interest in your current zone. Now, this is interesting because they're just rough markers. They're not exact places because you only have the horizontal positioning. It doesn't include a depth guide. At times, you will be walking towards what you think is a gate because it's there on the marker, but you will have to walk past it because that's the only way down to whatever level it's on. Overall then, Toki Tori 2
is one of the few games out there that doesn't just improve on its previous game, it leaves it well behind. Toki Tori 2 is far superior to the original, and the original was a damn good game anyway, so that's bloody impressive. For anybody who owns a Wii U, this is one of the best titles that's been released for the console so far. It's got just the right combination of frustration and reward in its challenges. You will encounter puzzles that will stop you in your tracks, and the joy of solving those will make it all worth it. The fact that it's got brilliant graphics and an incredible soundtrack, to be fair, there's nothing better really. It's a must-have for anybody with a Wii U.